When foreign governments are weaponizing social media to manipulate what Canadians see, that's a problem.
The threats of foreign interference, transnational repression, disinformation, and cyber attacks are real and pervasive. This is happening in Canada and around the world.
With Canada's snap election concluding on April 28th early, voters deserve the truth about a hidden threat mainstream media largely ignores. The People's Republic of China is actively interfering in our elections, targeting Conservative candidate Joe Tay in the Toronto riding of Don Valley North with unprecedented transnational repression. This isn't just meddling, it's a direct attack on our democracy, and it's happening on a scale we've never seen before. But thanks to previous Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's ineffective leadership, this threat has continued unabated, despite Justice Hogue's public inquiry into foreign interference in federal electoral processes and democratic institutions. The commission held 39 days of public hearings and 18 days of in-camera hearings, during which it heard evidence from over 100 witnesses, including political party representatives, members of parliament, the most senior ranks of the public service, cabinet ministers, and the Prime Minister himself. So when Trudeau prorogued Parliament on January 6th this year, it meant that Justice Hogue's final report, which was released on January 28th, went largely unacknowledged and recommendations unimplemented. So the SITE task force has taken the reins, standing for the Security and Intelligence Threats to Elections, i.e. SITE. It was created in 2019 as part of the plan to protect Canada's democracy, a whole of government and whole of society approach to safeguard Canada's elections and democratic institutions against interference. But this 2025 election is the first time they have openly briefed Canadians on this threat.
We have learned from experiences over the past few years, both our own and from foreign partners, and from Justice Hogue's report, that the threats of foreign interference, transnational repression, disinformation, and cyber attacks are real and pervasive. This is happening in Canada and around the world. This was the first federal election for which Canada held weekly updates on the measures to safeguard the election, and I believe that our efforts have contributed to a more informed and resilient Canadian public.
You heard that right. The SITE task force, for the first time in Canadian history, has been sounding the alarm on foreign interference in our 2025 federal election, and Joe Tay is ground zero.
In previous briefings, we have spoken about transnational repression. Certain authoritarian governments reach beyond their borders to harass, threaten, intimidate, and even use violence against individuals they disagree with. We call this transnational repression, or TNR. The goal is to advance foreign interests and silence criticism and dissent. As outlined the first week of the election, the People's Republic of China uses a variety of tactics to carry out TNR activities. It leverages PRC-based family members to pressure those in Canada to cease certain activities the PRC views as hostile or to return to the PRC. It also threatens PRC-based family members with a range of potential coercive actions, including detention or financial penalties. TNR is a particularly egregious form of foreign interference because it is used to suppress free speech and democratic rights. The SITE task force has been monitoring for instances of TNR during the election. Unfortunately, the SITE task force has seen continued transnational repression during the 45th general election, specifically in the riding of Don Valley North in the city of Toronto. We have been clear that this decision by Hong Kong to issue international bounties and cancel the passports of democracy activists and former Hong Kong lawmakers is deplorable. This attempt by Hong Kong authorities to conduct transnational repression abroad, including by issuing threats, intimidation, and coercion against Canadians or those in Canada, will not be tolerated. One of the 6 individuals targeted by Hong Kong is Joe Tay, Conservative Party candidate for Don Valley North and a known advocate for democracy and civil liberties in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. Since the bounty and arrest warrant were placed on Mr. Tay, members of the SITE task force have noticed a persistent information campaign on social media platforms where Chinese-speaking users in Canada are very active. The first trend is inauthentic and coordinated amplification of content related to the bounty and arrest warrant against Joe Tay, as well as content related to his competence for political office. This content includes a mock wanted poster featuring Mr. Tay, as well as disparaging headlines and comments. We've seen that multiple accounts or platforms published or interacted with content at similar times and dates, sometimes within minutes or even seconds of each other. Confirming attribution can often take significant time and analysis, as malign actors go to great lengths to hide traces of their role in foreign interference activities. At this time, intelligence reporting indicates that one of the Facebook accounts involved in this activity, Today Review, is historically connected to the PRC government authorities and pro-PRC entities in Hong Kong.
So here is what is happening. The PRC is amplifying a fake narrative, plastering bounties and arrest notices across Chinese state-controlled platforms. You search Joe Tay's name on these sites, and what do you get? Not his platform, not his record, just smear campaigns designed to skew public opinion and further suppress any search efforts to find credible information about him. As a result, Joe Tay has paused in-person campaigning due to safety concerns stemming from this targeted interference. Not only does this harm his ability to campaign effectively during this key election, but there's a strong element of psychological warfare involved in TNR activity, which the task force themselves acknowledges.
At the individual level, there is a profound psychological impact on victims who experience TNR. They might experience fear, anxiety, and stress due to continuous surveillance and harassment they face. At the community level, TNR creates mistrust and division. Targeted communities may become fragmented as individuals fear infiltration by foreign agents or retaliation for associating with activists. No Canadian should feel afraid to vote. That's why we're here to reassure you. Your vote is secret. The Elections Canada voting process is anonymous and no one will know who you vote for. Your vote is secure. Voting ballots are put into the ballot box where they are mixed with other ballots so they cannot be attributed to a specific person. Anyone who is receiving direct threats to their security or respecting their voting intentions, please know that there are supports in place to help you. You can also contact the RCMP National Security Information Network to report non-immediate threats. You can find out about the safeguards in place on Elections Canada's website and in the background material we have circulated today. To maintain our commitment to transparency and to build resiliency, we will produce a report after the election which will summarize site observations, the threat landscape during the RIP period, as well as panel discussions on those matters. We will issue this report publicly once it is available.
The task force has also made it clear that this isn't just about Joe Tay. It's about every Canadian's right to a free and fair election. Don Valley North has been repeatedly targeted by this aggression, and the task force says it's small scale for now, but don't be fooled. They're reassuring us our votes are secret and secure, which is great, but when foreign governments are weaponizing social media to manipulate what Canadians see, that's a problem. And get this, when pressed by the Globe and Mail, task force member Tara Kempton admitted she hadn't seen other instances of digital transnational repression.
Have there been any other ridings that you've seen transnational repression, even if it's not to the bar that you're saying Don Valley North is? And if so, what ones?
So at this time, we have not seen other instances of digital transnational repression.
Did you notice that wordplay? That doesn't mean that other forms of repression aren't happening. They're just not talking about it. So while the People's Republic of China aggressively attempts to manipulate our elections in targeted ridings like Don Valley North, Mark Carney, a Liberal faithful and party insider turned prime minister, initially endorsed Joe Tay's political opponent, Paul Chang. A former police officer, Chang publicly supported the PRC's smear campaign, including the bounty on Tay, amplifying the transnational repression and raising serious questions about Liberal complicity in undermining democratic integrity.
The other person that's running most probably is, the Chinese community knows, Joe Tay, Zhang Jing. Right? He is looking for the nomination. The Chinese media knows him. He was in the media business in Hong Kong, and here in Canada, he's a radio host, or I don't know, for Singtel Media or Fairchild, he was a media person. So that's all he did all his life. But also right now, he is wanted by the Chinese government. And there's a $1 million reward on his head. So they want, if you guys want to pick him up and take him to the Chinese consulate, you make him $1 million. I'm just joking. But there is a arrest warrant out for him from the government of China, and there is a reward for him. But apart from that, I can't say more than that. Right?
Out of touch Carney thought this was a teachable moment, and Chang later stepped aside, whatever that means, in disgrace.
Deeply offended by those comments. As I said, they're a terrible lapse of judgment. I view this as a teachable moment. It underscores the respect with which we treat human rights in this country, the differences between Canadian society and other countries. This, after all, though, I will go back to the character of the individual who made a lapse judgment. This is someone who has served our community, has been on the front line of policing for almost 3 decades, and has been standing up for those rights and has that track record for it. He's made his apology. He made it to the public. He made it to the individual concerned, made it directly to me, and he's going to continue with his candidacy. Thank you.
Now, the task force's promised report will come after the election, and it's a start, but words alone aren't enough. Canadians must stay vigilant, informed, and resistant to psychological operations. By spreading truth, exposing interference, and demanding accountability, we can hopefully safeguard our democracy. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. To see all of our election coverage, head on over to campaign2025.com. You can support our work and find out about all of the election issues plaguing Canadians. That's campaign2025.com.